Story time. So, my previous videos here, I was talking about intuition, right? And I've been, especially over the last month, going back in my life and trying to remember times where I had an intuition. Because in being able to remember the times that I did have intuition, I feel like it's uh, building what I got in me right now. It's giving me more confidence that I do have it and remembering that I have it. Uh, that it was always there. It's just life piled on top of it. And I disconnected. And there's a lot I feel like when you have been in narcissistic relationships, I mean, the real, true blue, like on the board, clinically narcissist, right? Because I feel like that word's just like really thrown around a lot these days. Uh, However, there's a checklist, right? And my very last two relationships, I was eyeball deep with within the relationships with narcissists, and I feel like there's something when you live that way, after a while it starts you start losing your own voice, your own knowing. You start questioning yourself, through all the gaslighting, through all of that, like the mental and emotional torment that you go through. It silences you from yourself, or at least it did me. Okay, I can't speak for everybody. I just know myself that there was a distinct cutoff from my own being. I'm constantly questioning myself, not knowing what was real, what was not, what was going on in my life. Anyway, so here I am rebuilding that. And I'm revisiting all these different points in my younger years when I did have it. And I want to tell a story about a time, one of my earliest times that I know for sure that I had a higher guidance in me. I was a runaway. I started running away from home when I was like 10, 11 years old. And by 12, I know, by 12, I was not that kid that just ran across the street to a friend's house or across town or up in a tree. I was the kid that was hitchhiking across country. At like 13 years old, I was on the back of a Harley, uh, going from Chicago to Maryland with a Hells Angel. 13 years old. And I've gone into that in a book that I'm writing called The Milk Carton Kid, because I don't know for certain, but I was told after I got back home that I was one of the kids on milk carton. And if you're not familiar with the whole milk carton thing, back in the day, uh, when milk would come in the box paper, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so our pictures were on the milk cartons, missing kids, and they were nationwide, right? I was told that I was actually one of the kids on the milk carton. However, I was not abducted. I was a runaway. But anyway, I was one of those kids that ran away all the time. And there was one particular time where I hitchhiked my way to California. I left my hometown in the Midwest and I had another girl with me. We were the same age, even the same name. And we took off together. We got a ride to a truck stop, and from the truck stop, we hitched our way all the way to California. And we ended up in the with this one particular driver that I now remember sitting in that truck and knowing something wasn't right. I didn't know what. I just knew that something wasn't right. And I remember going into the truck stop and telling my friend, "We got to keep rolling. We got to keep going." And she didn't want to listen. She was cool. I don't remember where he was heading. I don't remember the details. I just remember we were in, I believe, Anaheim, California. And I remember telling her that there's something off about this dude. I end up leaving. And to this very day, I feel guilty to a certain point. I feel guilty because I left her with him. She refused to go find another ride out. She did not want to leave the person we were with. And I just had a bad feeling. So I left. To this very day, I don't know what happened to her. That was the last time I ever seen her. Was in the seat of that truck. And to this very day, I remember that I can still feel the creeps that this guy gave me. And I don't know what happened to her. But we were both runaways. So obviously, we were just young girls. There was no going to authorities. There was no reason at that point to even go to authorities just because I got the creeps from somebody, right? But that was intuition. That was a knowing. That was an inner knowing that led me to keep moving on and leave her there. Who knows? Maybe someday she'll see these videos, right? Maybe some days, because obviously she's going to remember it. Hopefully, uh, you know, she's okay. Hopefully, she's got her right mind about her now. Hopefully, she's not in Skid Row or someplace. Who knows? Who knows? But hopefully, I still pray for her. Hope that she made it. Hope that she made it to 55 and that she's doing okay. From there, I ended up catching another ride, and I believe from there I went all the way up to Canada. And that's a whole other story. So, but that one's it for now. Peace out.